It's February 26th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a wall of sludge swallowing homes before sunrise, a ship going down in rigid silence, and music born from imitation, impossible to contain. Let's begin. On February 26, 1972, just after 8 a.m., the mountains of Logan County, West Virginia, let out a sound survivors would never forget. It was the sound of 3 coal waste dams giving way. High above the narrow Buffalo Creek Valley, Dam number 3, built not on bedrock but on piles of mining refuse, collapsed just days after heavy rain, and what followed was a chain reaction. One dam failed, then the other, a domino effect of industrial neglect. Then came the Black Wave. Over 130 million gallons of sludge, thick, toxic, coal-choked water tore loose. Witnesses described a 20 to 30-foot wall of darkness swallowing the valley at nearly 20 feet per second. Entire homes were lifted from their foundations, families had seconds to run uphill, and some didn't make it. In just over 15 minutes, 17 communities were erased, 125 people were killed, more than 4,000 were left homeless, 507 houses gone. Warnings had been issued, state officials had noted the structural deficiencies and a lack of emergency spillway, but the company called it an act of God. A settlement came to the survivors, regulations were tightened, new federal mining laws followed in 1977, but the valley would never fully recover. For those who lived through it, Buffalo Creek wasn't just a flood, it was the destruction of their world. On February 26, 1852, under the moonless sky off the coast of South Africa, a single jolt tore through the iron hull of the British troopship. It was the ship HMS Birkenhead, and at approximately 2 a.m., she struck an uncharted rock at Danger Point. The impact ripped open her side, seawater flooded in to the lower decks instantly. Nearly 101 soldiers asleep in their hammocks drowned before they could even stand. Above deck, chaos threatened to erupt. There were not enough lifeboats. More than 600 souls aboard, soldiers bound for war, along with women and children. If the men rushed the boats, everyone would die. And then came the order, stand fast. Lieutenant Colonel Seaton commanded the troops to remain at attention, steady and silent, while women and children were loaded into the few available lifeboats. No pushing, no panic, just rows of soldiers standing there, in formation as the ship began to break apart beneath them. Within 25 minutes, the Birkenhead split and sank. Over 400 men perished, some pulled under with the wreck, others slipped into the dark waters, forced to swim for miles towards the distant shoreline. Only 193 survived. Women and Children First was immortalized by Rudyard Kipling as the Birkenhead drill, a silent line of soldiers, the sea rising at their boots, and a choice to stand still anyways. On February 26, 1917, inside a small recording studio in New York City, something strange was captured. 5 musicians from New Orleans, calling themselves the original Dixieland Jazz Band, stood before the recording horn for the Victor Talking Machine Company. No microphones, no editing, just a spinning disc and a single chance to get it right. What they played was called Livery Stable Blues, and it didn't sound like anything America had ever heard. Midway through the track, the clarinet began to crow like a rooster, the cornet whined like a startled horse, and the trombone let a low, wobbling moo. Listeners would later describe it as chaotic, wild, and almost unruly. Barnyard sounds on record. The band was made up of Nick LaRocca on cornet, Larry Shields on clarinet, Eddie Edwards on trombone, Harry Rogas on piano, and Tony Sparborough on drums, all leaning into the novelty. Black musicians in New Orleans have been shaping sound for years, in clubs, parades, and dance halls, long before it was ever captured on a recording. Yet this was the version that went nationwide. It sold over 1 million copies, and just a few minutes of scratchy animal imitation chaos, a new genre, was born. Jazz didn't arrive quietly, it burst into the scene, possible to ignore. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.